Compete for the bronze. Well, all this attention on the sport may have you wondering where all these powerhouse players are coming from, since a girl in hockey gear is not a very common sight on American rinks. But it's more common than you may think. As I found out recently, women's hockey is not only catching on, it is also never too late to learn.
When you first step on the ice, it's kind of like, oh no, there's a girl, is she gonna be on our team? Oh no, And then you skate around a little, show them a thing or two, and they see you take a nice slap shot, and then they're okay with it. And they're like, all right, she's okay, she can play with us.
Used to be the only way a girl could play hockey was with the boys. But step aside, guys. This ice time is for the ladies.
Girls are taught to be kind of quiet, and they can play tennis or they can play soccer, and getting them out there and actually getting them a little bit aggressive, I think, teaches them some good lessons for life.
We've got lawyers on our team, people that work in banks. I'm a civil servant. Girls in advertising, so you get all walks of life here.
And all ages, too, from 17 to 45. Just a decade ago, only about 10,000 women played ice hockey in the U.S. Now it's up to 100,000, thanks to an Olympic team that took gold in 1998 and continues to be a favorite each year. And more colleges offering scholarships. But there is another reason women's hockey is growing.
A lot of the women, regardless that they have kids, you end up going to the ice rink, and then other moms start getting together, and then they start forming adult clinics, and it becomes an introductory program. Then they start getting pretty good at this, and then what they start looking at, it becomes a fun event, and they are getting in shape.
He said the magic words, fun and getting in shape, two concepts I can rarely make coincide. Spending weekends at the rink myself watching my son play, I wondered, is it ever too late for a mom to take up ice hockey? How about getting out of the stands and onto the ice? So I geared up as a goalie. Less skating, I figured. Didn't bargain on the extra weight of the padded gear. I had no idea how heavy these things were. Beginning to get me a little bit nervous, to tell you the truth. I was coached by a Delphi professor of sport management, Dan Bedard, who should win Olympic gold for patience. The stick is kind of like a nuisance.
Have you ever heard of soccer?
All right, let's play hockey.
Let's do it.
The hockey skates felt a lot different than the figure skates I'd been on my whole life, but then how different could they be, right? Okay, I'm on the ice. Ah! Wrong. The falling wasn't so bad, the padding's thick. It was the fear I wasn't quite prepared for. Just to play it safe, I'm going to have my son's 10-year-old team shooting on me. A kid's dream come true, right? Shooting on mom. Bring it on, guys!
Come on, Ma. You can do it. Look at the shooter. Get your stick right here. I am. Oh. Yeah!
Nice save. Great save.
Let's go. Oh, yeah! I'm doing okay. Go down. Good.
Great.
Now get your pads like this.
I began to notice how heavy I was breathing and how this was getting harder with time.
When they're coming at you, you gotta look at the shot and bend your knees. Touch your knees. I really don't think any other mom could do this.
There are actually plenty of women doing it a whole lot better than I did, putting a different spin on the term hockey mom.
I planned when I was going to have my kids around hockey, believe it or not. There's nothing, nothing will stop you if you really are passionate about it.
Wow, quite a workout.
Playing ice hockey is not crazy. If you start chasing after that puck, there's a sense of accomplishment that you're the first one there. And that little sense of competitiveness pushes you to train even harder.
I learned that ice hockey is a lot harder than it looks, but it is also a lot more fun.
There's a move to crack down on these so-called member items. Carolyn Gusoff reports.
Your neighborhood soccer team may be a worthy cause, but should donations be coming from the tax rolls? Suffolk County Executive Steve Levy thinks legislators are doling out public money to private groups like soccer and Little League simply to get reelected.
I don't know of many other county governments that have a slush fund to the tune of $500,000 per legislator that they can just throw around at their total discretion.
Levy says what started as modest spending has mushroomed into a personal bankroll, more than $500,000 per lawmaker this year.
That's a lot of dough to throw around. You can imagine why a lot of these groups consider these legislators as Santa Claus all year long, and it certainly does help when election time comes.
The money goes to arguably good causes, firehouses, community groups, youth clubs. But Levy says what's missing is public debate.
It all either goes up or it all either goes down, and every single year it gets a vote up, and that means the junk is included with the good stuff.
What does he consider junk?
A Christmas party is a nice thing to do. A prom is a nice thing to go to. But by definition, they're social functions which are private in nature. They're not advancing public health. They're not advancing public safety.
Levy's chief deputy, Paul Sabatino, says he's vetoed some of the more frivolous requests, like Knicks tickets for a youth group, a Christmas show for an Italian lodge, law books for a private law school, prom dresses, T-shirts for a school PTA, a $30,000 hospital bed, and an after-school parenting course.
I was stunned and horrified when I saw that the previous administration had never looked at the contracts in any kind of oversight or review.
I don't have a private piggy bank, a slush fund that I can dole out, thousands and thousands of dollars to.
Legislators say nothing is spent without public debate.
The issue is whether or not we are secretly using this money for political purposes and hiding the fact that we are recommending programs and hiding the fact of how much we're spending, as they do, as alleged in Albany.
And your answer?
No, absolutely not.
In fact, the lawmakers charge they're funding worthy causes that the county executive himself supported when he was a legislator, like kids clubs and sports.
The rationale there would be that we're providing an alternative to these kids going and getting involved in gangs and illegal activity.
But a Christmas show?
Our island has a need for the cultural arts. Our island has a need, and by the way, any of those concerts, anything like that brings in people, also brings in people to our communities. It brings in tax dollars.
Well, Levy says he's proposing a law that would make the process transparent so that legislative grants would be listed in the budget one by one, with a legislator's name next to it.
So we can keep the good, but weed out a lot of the fluff that goes along simply to get a legislator elected.
Sabatino says every frivolous dollar he vetoes can be spent on what he sees as true human needs.
How can we truly help people who have real needs and not be spending money on T-shirts for parents?
Legislators argue the system does work because the fluff eventually gets weeded out, but Levy argues that process costs too much and that the weeding should be done by the lawmakers, who, by the way, will be the ones deciding on Levy's transparency bill. Carolyn Gusoff, News Channel 4. It is Mother's Day, but for some moms, it's a tough day to celebrate because they are not where they'd like to be. They're spending the day in hospitals with their sick children. But one group on Long Island is trying hard to lift their spirits, and here's how.
My son is 16 years old. His name is Carlos. He's an honest student. I have to say that I'm a proud mom. And all of a sudden, started getting some pain in his hip. He had non-Hodgkin lymphoma. He was in stage 3. He was developing tumor all over his body.
You can find Yenny Rodriguez right here every day in the bone marrow transplant unit.
Oh, I'm here every day. I have never left his bedside since he was diagnosed.
Just down the hall, Debbie Amato holds a similar vigil.
Jake is now 5 years old and he was diagnosed with ALL leukemia. I'm here all the time with him. I don't leave his side. I don't want him to be alone to go through it. He needs his mom.
It's what mothers do at Schneider Children's Hospital. Mothers for whom every day, not only Mother's Day, is a difficult day.
Even when I take time for myself, it doesn't feel right because I know he's here.
I don't think of myself. I take myself out of the picture and I just want him to get better.
Even putting a smile on my face is hard.
But on this day, the smiles would come a little easier.
Bye.
Thanks to the generosity of the Children's Medical Fund of New York, an organization of donors that not only funds medical care, research, and children's programs, but also conceived of a sort of mental health day for moms.
It's about taking care of the mother soul. and really, giving them the energy and the spirit to carry on, because it's such a difficult, part in your life, And children just do feed off of the mother.
Angels are giving these moms a break, offering them something the rest of us usually take for granted, a day or even part of a day to take care of themselves.
Today they're going to have a haircut, going to have pedicure, going to have manicure, and whatever else they need.
The folks at New Best Salon welcome these moms for a complimentary day of beauty, pampering the outside to comfort the inside.
Anything that can look great will make you feel better. You like your hair long?
I want to go blonde.
And sometime between the shampoo and the blowout, a little magic was worked, smiles on faces that nearly forgot how. Yenny and Debbie say they know nail polish doesn't change much, but the caring of others does. And this was a Mother's Day gift sanctioned by the highest authority.
My mom, she's been there. She's been there for me. Sometimes she gets stressed out, but it's part of this.
Carlos gave his okay for his mom to take a few hours off.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. So I'm okay. I'm very happy.
That smile is nice to see. The boys were in good hands while their moms had their donated day of beauty. Dads and grandfathers stepped in. And the folks at Children's Medical Fund say they hope to do this sort of thing every Mother's Day. And I certainly hope that Debbie and Yenny will be home soon with their sons. That would be the best Mother's Day gift. The bride usually wears something borrowed, not everything borrowed. And these days, what's not borrowed is tightly budgeted. Brides like Christy Kalinch, whose fiancé has seen his overtime slashed, are scaling back their big day. She's making her own invitations and centerpieces and moved the honeymoon from the South Pacific to the South. Wedding industry vendors say brides are planning their dream day with sobering realism. Comparison shopping more than ever. Caterers say couples are still booking but cutting frills. Freeman also says more grooms' parents are chipping in on wedding expenses. For Christy and Richard, the wedding will go on, but their focus, she says, is more on the dream marriage than the dream party. Carolyn Gusoff, News 4 New York.